Hello everybody, this is Skip Alsummer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. I'm pre-recording because I am not in North Carolina, I'm somewhere else. I just went to the Tinkertown Museum, which is in it's near Albuquerque, and here's one of the exhibits. These are all hand carved by the same person, and really phenomenal. I'm having problems putting a quarter in, but this is Boot Hill, and it shows what happens when you die. Anyways, today we're going to be watching some more films from the Prelinger archives. We're going to start off with The Things People Want, which is features, was it John Forsythe, I think? Is that his name? Then we're going to watch, what's next? Municipal Salvageman. And, wait a minute, oops. The first thing we're going to watch is actually going to be Your Safety First, which is an animated film, I believe about auto safety. So enjoy these. I look forward to seeing you in the comments, and we will see you tomorrow. Everybody have a great time. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up, hit the like, subscribe, and YouTube is still taking forever to get back to me about getting my old channel back, but I'm still optimistic, and I'm getting lots of wonderful emails and messages from you folks, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anyways, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Wow, what a beauty. By golly, I think I'll buy a new car. Say, Millie, how long have I had the old one?
1 year, 8 months, 14 days, 11 minutes, 43 seconds. Three o'clock, boss. Time to go home.
So it is. Well, I'm ready. A long day, 11 to 3, 2 hours for lunch, 3 days a week. It's a tough life.
I've never eaten anything so fattening in my entire life.
Give me license number WJK-412.
I bid 3 hearts. 3 no trump. I pass.
Do you mind if I pass?
Certainly not. Go right ahead.
Thanks. No doubt about it. This bus is a little old-fashioned. Well, that was delicious.
That concludes tonight's thrilling episode of our three-dimensional Western, brought to you by Enerjade, the combination soft drink, candy, and dessert with the three-dimensional flavor. Good, good, good. Buy it at your local market. 21st Century Cars presents your personal master of ceremony.
Hello, folks. Say that. Now we are going to bring you a special entertainment feature which will show the development of the automobile.
Oh, Pop! I want to see another cowboy picture.
Quiet.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, not you. Say, those new models look terrific.
They are terrific. You should see what your grandfather used to call an automobile. Okay, Sam, start the show. Now, folks, believe it or not, this is actually an automobile. When Grandpa was a 17-year-old hot rodder around the turn of the century, this job was the hottest thing on wheels. Grandpa's newfangled horseless carriage changed his whole life in more ways than one. Motoring was a thrilling experience even in those days. Since there weren't any doors in Grandpa's dreamboat, sometimes it was a little too thrilling. Every trip was an adventure in those days, and one thing you could always depend on: a flat tire. The old retaining rings on the rims didn't always retain what they were supposed to retain. Shock absorbers hadn't been invented yet, and road conditions were ideal for testing the fatigue and failure points of automobiles and drivers. Grandpa's car didn't have much acceleration for passing, so he found himself on the wrong side of the road for longer than he should be. Caught out at night, Grandpa's gas or oil headlamps weren't much competition for a couple of fireflies. The little speedster had no top, and it was far from comfortable in an unexpected shower. The windshield was a great improvement. But without a wiper, even Grandpa's 20/20 vision couldn't keep him out of trouble. The runabout didn't have a self-starter, and often the 10-horsepower engine didn't respond to the hand crank. Occasionally, even on good roads, individual parts failed without warning. Axles snapped. When drag links and steering knuckles failed, it was hard to tell what might happen. With every passing year, improvements came thick and fast. Stronger and safer wheels were developed with demountable rims for tires. Doors were added to keep people safely inside. Tops became standard equipment. Windshields protected motorists from bugs and the elements. Wipers were invented to help the motorist drive safely in bad weather. The driver's seat was moved from right to left to make passing safer. The electric starter replaced the old hand crank. This remarkable invention enabled Grandma to get into the automobile driving act, and she really loved it. As the years went by, the automobile manufacturers continued to improve their cars and make them safer, so that more and more people could use and enjoy them. Press steel wheels for greater strength, stoplights to warn following drivers, rear view mirrors, four-wheel hydraulic brakes to increase stopping power, bumpers to add more protection, rubber-covered pedals to keep feet from slipping. Safety glass increased passenger protection tremendously. Welded all-steel bodies and all-steel tops meant more strength and safety. Bumpy roads were smoothed out with shock absorbers, and Grandpa could sail along in comfort and safety. Through the years, the automobile changed from a novelty to a necessity. It created a new way of life. It provided a whole new concept of transportation for industry. And we became a nation on the move for work and pleasure. Besides designing better automobiles, the manufacturers developed research and testing techniques to help them build safer cars. The science of metallurgy met the challenge of creating more efficient and stronger parts and assemblies. Scientists used all kinds of technical equipment in research and development programs. Ingenious torture tests were designed to reveal fatigue and failure points in parts and assemblies. And like the parts and assemblies, the cars themselves were tested under all kinds of driving conditions to make sure that they would operate with maximum efficiency and safety. At the end of the rugged test run on the proving grounds, they were disassembled down to the last bolt and checked and studied in minute detail. Year after year, manufacturing processes steadily improved to make sure that every automobile that left the factory was in good working order. Each car was subjected to more than 2,000 inspections. Cars became safer and more reliable. So when Grandpa, still plenty spry in spite of his age, set out for a little trip, his car was reliable, safe, comfortable, and easy to drive. Safety door locks kept Grandpa secure inside the all-steel body. The adjustable seat quickly placed him in a comfortable position. The automatic transmission made driving easier. And easier controls meant safer driving. Styling contributed to safety. The low center of gravity gave more stability. Tubeless tires meant increased safety. New equipment kept Grandpa warm in the winter and cool in the summer to add to his comfort. And a more comfortable driver was a safer driver. More powerful and reliable engines were developed to make driving more efficient. When Grandpa passed another car, he did it safely and easily. Wrap-around windshields and larger rear windows increased visibility tremendously. Sealed beam headlamps guided Grandpa safely at night. Power brakes made it possible for him to stop easily and quickly. Directional signals let the other fellow know the driver's intentions. Power steering not only made parking a breeze, it made all driving easier. Even in the good old days of the 1950s and 1960s, Grandpa could rely on his automobile to get him to his destination quickly, safely, and fresh as a daisy. So you see, folks, all of you who are living in the year 2000 are fortunate, because through the years, the automobile manufacturers have had as their goal your safety first. They have constantly improved the quality and safety of automobiles. And they will continue in the future as they have in the past to create cars that are more maneuverable, more responsive, more dependable in every situation, and easier, more pleasant, and safer for all of us to drive, including, of course, Grandpa.
That's the ding-dong truth, folks. Look at me going on 117. It's this easy modern living that does it. Well, so long, kids. Gotta go pick up another new model.
This is a story about two kinds of people. The people who buy, the customers in a competitive market, and the people who help them get what they want, the salesmen. We're all customers quite often, and we're all salesmen now and then. Salesmen of things and of ideas. And there's a lot to selling anything. There are rules and ways of doing the selling job that have to be followed if we expect to be successful in a competitive market. Well, now, here's Don Evans. He's a pretty good young salesman. Lots of drive. Spends his time off the floor studying his product, planning his next day's work. Only trouble is, sometimes Evans thinks he has all the answers.
Say, Don.
Oh, yes, Mr. Carter.
Can you come into my office for a few
And
minutes?
here's Jim Carter, Evans' boss. He doesn't always agree with Evans.
Don, my calendar says that you've been with us just 3 months to the day.
That's right.
Still like it?
Oh, yes, sir. I like selling. I like it here. I like the job, too. I just hope the job likes me.
Sit down. Well, Don, for a man who's only been with us 3 months, I'd say you were doing all right. But you know, Don, successful selling in this business or any other isn't all just a matter of natural ability or the will to win. It takes a lot of hard work, study, practice, and above all, a thorough understanding of what selling is really all about. You remember, Don, when you first came here, we had several sessions on what selling really is and how to go about it?
Uh-huh.
I think you caught on fast, too, for a start. But before we go any further, it might be a good idea to see where we're at so far. You know, Don, right now you're forming sales habits that are going to stay with you. It's easy to form the wrong habits that are hard to get rid of. On the other hand, it's just as easy now to form the right habits. So let's analyze this selling job of yours once more just to see how we stand.
Well, I guess the first thing in selling is to know your product. You sure can't do much selling unless you know what you're talking about. You know, I've been noticing lately how many salesmen really don't know their products. Only yesterday, I saw an electric shaver in Johnson's window down the street. And I'd been needing a new one, so I thought I'd go in and find out how this one worked.
Well, I don't know just what kind of motor it's got in it, but we sell lots of them. Lots of them. No complaints either.
Yeah, sure, I know, but I've had a couple of these things. One of them was okay, but I lost it. The other only ran half the time. So I'd like to know what's what before I buy.
Well, we handle a lot of different makes of shavers in this place.
Yeah, sure, thanks. All that guy needed to make a sale was just a little information about his product. I was all ready to part with $20, but not without knowing what I was buying. And he didn't know his product, so he lost the sale.
That's right, Don. Product knowledge is essential. But important as that is, what more do you need?
Well, I remember we talked about a plan for selling.
That's right, the 4-step sale. Of course, there are lots of ways of breaking down the steps in a sale. But for my dough, this 4-step plan of ours covers the ground. And Don, right out there on that business street, you can see those 4 steps at work all day long. Take, for example, the first step, finding prospects. All those people out there, they're prospects for all sorts of products. That's why those stores out there are located where the greatest number of people pass by. In other kinds of selling, of course, like ours, you have to go find the prospects yourself, most of them. You have to use every device under the sun to find people who can qualify as prospects for our product. Those other steps of the sale are being worked out there, too. Take the second step, creating the desire to own. That flapjack operation over there, creating the desire to eat in this case. The idea is to present your product to the prospects in whatever way appeals to them most, to make them want it. That flapjack boy has it, and it's the same idea no matter what the product. And take that kid over there. He has a prospect. He has created the desire to own. But unless he can get the man to part with a nickel, he's just been wasting his time. That's sometimes the toughest part of the job. But it's the payoff. That's right, kid. Make the old tightwad come across. There, that was a perfect example of the third step of a sale, getting the decision to buy. And there's an example of the final step, delivering the product right. By delivering the packages right to her car, the clerk has followed up his sale with a goodwill gesture that should bring the customer back again, and may help get her to send in her friends.
Well, I think I've got those 4 steps pretty well in mind, Mr. Carter. fact, I've got them all down right here. And in addition, I've tacked on some reminders of some of those other things we talked about. You know, the rules for handling people.
Good, let's hear them.
Ask questions. That's point number one. Seems like the only way you can find out how to handle a prospect is to ask questions that'll get him to give you the information you need. Let the prospect talk. That's the only way you can discover what he really wants, what he's interested in, whether you're on the way to selling him.
That's right, Don. If you do all the talking, you get darn little help from the prospect. So you let him talk. What's your next point?
Don't argue. Arguments just make people mad. You don't get people to buy things by making them mad at you. You try to set them straight, but not by arguing. In fact, you can win an argument and lose the sale. Yes, but, the old one, too. You tell the prospect, well, yes, that would seem to be the case, but there's another angle.
You know, Don, using the yes, but is one way to avoid an argument and get the prospect thinking along your lines. Agree that what he says may be partly true, or used to be true, and then get in your licks.
Repeat the objection. Then the prospect knows you've got it straight. Or maybe he'll back down a little, or even admit that this isn't his real objection at all. And finally, concentrate on the main objection. Answer it to the prospect's complete satisfaction. You can usually get him so he has to say yes when you ask for that order. Of course, there's probably a lot more to this business of handling people.
Well, Don, that's all good stuff. You seem to have the right slant on a lot of things. But someplace along the line, you seem to have missed one of the most important points of all.
Why, I thought I covered most everything here.
Look, Don, you talk about rules for handling people. But just what are you trying to accomplish with these people, these prospects? What are you driving at?
Well, I guess I'm trying to get them to buy the product.
Sure. But why should they buy it? Why do they buy it?
Why, because it's tops. Because it's got what they want.
Got what they want. All right, now you're getting someplace. Well, what is it that they want? What do people want from any product? What are the buyer's interests? Why do people buy one product instead of another? What are you trying to prove to people with all your product knowledge and so on?
I'm trying to get them to buy.
Buy what?
Well, the product, of course.
Look, Don, you've got a whole mass of sales information stored up there inside your head, but you've forgotten what you're trying to accomplish with it. Think it over. What do people want from any product? What do they want out of life? What are the buyer's interests?
What do people want? What do people want?
What's the matter, Don? Don't you know what people want?
What?
Oh, never mind about where I am. I'm just the guy inside your noggin. The guy who really knows what you know about what people want.
What people want? That again.
That's right. You know what people want. Take yourself, for example. How do you like to come home to an easy chair? A pleasant, warming fire in the fireplace. Just relax with your slippers. Your pipe. your newspaper. Solid comfort. Yes, comfort is mighty important to you and to a lot of other people. That's one of the things you and lots of other people want. Then, take a mother with her child, her most priceless possession, her baby. What's the angle there? Why, the safety of that baby. Mother's only thought as she tucks her precious baby in. Safety from all harm. Safety through the night. Yes, safety is one of the most important things in the world to people. Sometimes safety is the only thing that really matters. On the other hand, why does a farmer use a windmill instead of a power pump? Economy. Fuel to run a windmill is free. Economy. The farmer's first consideration in using a windmill. A thing of first importance to many people. And why do we have jet planes? Why? Just one reason. Performance. Performance. Do a better job than anything else. Performance from a jet plane. Performance from a lawnmower. To some people, performance is the only thing that counts. Durability. Bridges. Man-made structures which must last for generations, which tell us just how important durability can be to people. Durability. How long will it last? And here's a picture to delight the eye and quicken the pulse of every beholder. To many people, like the artist, appearance is all important. Beauty in women, beauty in many other things. Well, that's it. Those are the 6 things that people want. The 6 buyer's interests. Of course, sometimes we call them by other names, but it's the same thing. For example, take that cigarette. You pick a certain brand, maybe for its flavor or its firmness or the fact that it doesn't make you cough. Well, in a cigarette, those things all add up to performance. Performance in a cigarette.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But doggone it, with my product, all I have to do is give a complete demonstration. If I do that, I've answered all 6 of the buyer's interests.
Partly answered, Don. Sure, you should always give a complete demonstration. But you've got to do a thorough selling job on the prospect's main interests. For instance, those are certainly good-looking shoes you have on. Why did you buy them?
Right, because they're comfortable. I've got to be on my feet an awful lot in this job, you know.
Exactly. And while the shoe salesman mentioned appearance and economy, you wouldn't have bought those shoes unless they were comfortable. Someone else might have been more impressed by appearance. But to you, comfort was the chief interest. So the salesman hit that hard. The thing is that different people attach different degrees of importance to each of the 6 buyer's interests. One may think performance is the most important. Another, economy, or safety, or comfort.
I get it. My job in selling is to find out which of these interests each prospect is most interested in. And then to show that my product is the answer.
Absolutely. Product knowledge. The 4 steps of the sale. The rules for handling people. All these things should be aimed continually at finding the prospect's interests. And then, proving that your product best fills those interests. That's true of every salesman, no matter what he's selling. Take Pete, for example. He sells china. Very expensive china. And not so expensive china.
Morning, madam. What can I show you today?
Well, I'd like to see something in the dinner set.
All right. Did you want something for every day, or were you interested in something more elaborate?
Well, something for every day. And I don't want to spend too much. My present dishes are always chipping.
I see. So you're interested in something low-priced, yet durable.
Yes.
I think we've got just about what you have in mind. Some new low-price patterns just came in. Here's one we consider very attractive.
Yes, it is nice.
And the price is surprisingly low for dinnerware of this quality. It's durable, too, for everyday use. Let me tell you why this china is so durable.
You see?
You may have noticed that.
Pete established with a simple question or two just what his customers' main interests were. Then he showed merchandise that satisfied those interests. And he stressed the things that applied to the interests. You have to do that in selling china. And you have to do it in selling men's suits.
Yes, sir, Mr. Williams. At the price, this suit is really a steal. And it'll wear like a carpet.
Sure. And the price is okay. I tell you, it doesn't feel right. It's too heavy.
Oh, but Mr. Williams, to see how beautifully it fits you and the color made for you. And at that price.
Listen, I wouldn't take this dog bed for a gift.
Wait a minute. Hold everything. Let's back up a little and do it right.
Seems a little heavy.
You'd be more comfortable with a lighter weight material?
Right.
Let's just try on this lightweight pinstripe and see if it doesn't give you the comfort you want. And it'll hold the press about as well as any material you can find.
Well, this is better.
Yes, that was better. When a prospect gives you a hint as to what his interests are, stay on the beam. Prove his interests. If he wants comfort, sell him comfort, not price or appearance. A good salesman keeps that constantly in mind in selling clothing, and it's the same thing with radio.
It's real furniture construction, as you can see. The wood is about the finest we've seen in any radio cabinet. Genuine hardwoods and hardwood veneers, not synthetic.
Oh, it certainly is good looking.
Yeah. And for loading and unloading the phonograph, it's really convenient. You just pull the door open and the record player slides out where you can reach it easily.
It is convenient.
Yeah. Of course, the most important thing about any radio set is, how does it perform?
Yeah, performance. How about that? That's what I want to see.
Yes, how does this one perform on this new FM everyone is talking about?
Well, just wait till you hear it. But first, I'd like to tell you some of the reasons why the performance of this set is so much superior. Now, performance begins right here.
Well, there are lots of ways of doing it, but you have to find out which of the 6 interests your prospects are most interested in. Then, you have to demonstrate your product in terms of that interest. Well, Don, that's the story. Actually, you really knew those things all along. You just have to remember them all the time, at every step of the sale. Remember what people want. That's what Carter was talking about.
The things people want. 6 buyers' interests. Comfort, safety, economy, durability, performance, and appearance.
Yes, sir, that's it. That's the answer to what people want. All the product knowledge, the 4-step sales, the rules for handling people, they're all aimed at just one thing: finding out exactly what a prospect wants, and then proving that he has it.
You see? I knew it all the time.
Before starting this program, I feel it appropriate to introduce to you the Dean of all Salvagemen, Captain J.J. Conway of the Cincinnati Salvage Corps. My friends in the service, I am very happy to have the opportunity to lend my support to this marvelous program of salvage work. I thank you. It now gives me pleasure to introduce another outstanding salvageman, Mr. Frank C. McAuliffe, Chief of the Chicago Fire Insurance Patrol. Chief McAuliffe.
Thank you, Chief. In presenting this picture for your approval, it is not our desire to detract from your first duty, the saving of human life. We trust, however, that the lesson will leave a lasting impression and serve as an incentive to extinguish fires in a workmanlike and efficient manner with a minimum of damage. As firemen are sworn to protect life and property, it is their duty to do their utmost to save property from damage and destruction from any cause and in any emergency. On this chart is represented the annual fire loss of the United States. Now note the significant fact that approximately only 25% of the total is actually consumed by fire. The difference of 75% represents a waste from causes which can be materially reduced by the application of salvage methods. The National Board of Fire Underwriters have rendered a decision that they would no longer install salvage corps in the larger cities, as such work is essentially a fire department operation. The logic in this decision is apparent to all fair-minded persons. Since insurance costs are proportionate with fire losses, progressive fire chiefs should strive to increase the usefulness of their department by adding salvage equipment in accordance with the needs of their communities. Adequate salvage facilities for the larger cities include apparatus designed to carry brooms, shovels, floodlights, gas masks, sprinkler heads, sawdust, roofing paper, salvage covers, and many other appliances. Here you see the equipment. In the smaller towns and cities where separate salvage apparatus is not available to the fire department, the salvage equipment can be carried as shown by the hose or ladder companies. This puts salvage facilities within the reach of every firefighting organization, no matter how large or small. All firemen are taught to handle the covers. A ready-made trough can be made to extinguish smoldering goods without further water damage. Covers, after use, are carefully inspected and washed. They are hung on special racks or other suitable places for drying. Damaged covers are patched and vulcanized. Replacement covers are spread on the floor and mopped with powdered pumice before being folded. This fold and many others in common use are arranged for ease in loading and handling, permitting the covers to open freely when thrown over furniture, machinery, or merchandise. Before salvage work came into practice, water was allowed to run wild. These people evidently have little confidence in their fire department. This department means business, and how. Uncontrolled as it is, the water soon knocks off the plaster and everything below is ruined. The fire is out, and so is the owner. Property owners who suffer such losses can hardly be expected to think well of their fire department. The furnishings of this house can all be saved. The chief is on the job. The salvage rig a close second. A real fire department. These boys know how to open a door, covering the halls as they go along. Here comes the engine company. One and a half inch hose is considered sufficient here. Bringing in more covers, the salvage captain directs the operation. Getting ready to cover the second floor. This hose will not flood the building. Truck is raising ladders. All the bedroom furniture is placed under a single cover. Nozzles are never opened until the main body of the fire is reached. The first floor is also being protected. Here comes the water. Damage to valuable furnishings is thus easily prevented. This salvage trained fireman needs no orders. Watch this man handle a cover. Take that picture from the wall. Here is where the sawdust comes in. Dikes are built to corral the water. Rugs are taken from the floor. Notice the value of this salvage cover. One method of draining a floor. This prevents the water from spreading between the ceiling and the floor. The pipe is then protected by a drain cover to prevent clogging. A cover is arranged to catch and send the water to the outside. The fire and water are both out. Sawdust between the rafters absorbs the dampness which would otherwise soak through and ruin the ceiling below. The cleaning and drying up process. If you look closely, you will notice a cover hung from the ceiling to catch falling plaster and dripping water. It is left until the drip stops. Rearranging the room. Is used for small roof openings. On the larger openings, it is necessary to use covers. These men have made more friends for their fire department. It would be useless to salvage the furnishings and have them destroyed by the elements later. The place is again ready for occupancy. Contrast this lady's thoughts and feelings with the lady we saw at the other fire. But here's another fire, in a factory this time. Hundreds of employees stopped at their work. Enormous damage may be done to expensive machinery in a very few seconds. Experienced salvage men realize this. If salvage can keep the place running, there will be no layoff for the workers. Seconds mean dollars to employers and employees. Delays may cost a fortune. Trained firemen make this teamwork possible. Even the slightest moisture will cause a considerable loss to this expensive and intricate machinery. Nothing in the way of salvage is being overlooked. This chief can rightfully be proud of his work. Salvage work has made it possible for these men to go back to work without the loss of time and wages that would otherwise have resulted. The machines are in perfect running order. Isn't that the sirens again? This time the boys in the warehouse district will work. Looks like a worker. Experienced salvage officers size up a building on their inspection tours, and when the emergency arises, all available facilities are used to a good advantage. The firefighting forces go into action. Should this fire have occurred when no elevator operator was present, these salvage men, having been trained to operate all types of elevators, would suffer no loss of time. The chief has planned his attack and is issuing his orders. Standpipes and sprinklers are not being overlooked. Efficient hustlers who take their orders while in action. It didn't take them long to get there. The salvage men were also fast. Ventilation will make their work easier. As usual, lines are being taken directly to the main body of the fire, and nozzles are not being opened on incipient communication. Ruthless destruction of skylight frames caused much unnecessary damage. An additional salvage company is required. This merchandise is valuable, and water can cause more damage than the fire. Salvage crews take no chances. A sensible means of transportation for men, covers, and sawdust. third company goes into action. Water on these rugs would mean a big loss. Notice the skid. This shelf work would be less difficult if they had been properly installed. Looks like a big cover job. These crews are prepared for any emergency. A shower bath will not deter this man from stopping the flow of unnecessary water. The stem on the sprinkler valve indicates the position of the valve. When closed, the drain is opened. The sprinkler equipment is always left in order to gain the advantage of this wonderful automatic protection without interruption. The sprinklers are again placed in service. The fire is out, and the firefighters must return their protection and life-saving equipment without delay to be prepared for other alarms. Some are left to assist the salvagemen in the finishing touches. Such cooperation always produces results. Water should be sent to the outside by the most direct route, in this case a scupper. Scuppers must be cleared to function properly. Dikes of sawdust prevent the spread of water. It is not hard to imagine what would have happened to the stock if this water were allowed to reach it. Notice all the covers used here. Elevator machinery, when located in a basement, must always be covered before sending water down a shaft. A job for the plumber, but a good means of draining. When uncovering merchandise, water spots that may have occurred before covering receive attention. Covers should be properly folded. Wet furniture packing should be removed to prevent loss due to water spots. The damage to records often causes a loss that cannot be measured in dollars and cents. Modern departments prevent damage to their pumpers by using siphons to remove water from basements. Hydrant pressures can often be used to an advantage.
Chief, I want to congratulate you. You and your salvage crew certainly did save us a tremendous water loss. And now our business activities can proceed without any further delay.
Thanks, Mr. Ballinger. We enjoy giving you 100% service.
Good luck, Cap.
Thanks.
The last traces of water have been removed. Going home is the satisfaction that always comes with work well done.
Our purpose in presenting this picture was to demonstrate how salvage work benefits the uninsured as well as the insured. We trust that we have shown you the necessity of equipping your department to cope with all preventable losses. I thank you.